Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of the Championship Series. We got the Class 4A champs, St. Michael-Albertville. They're right down the road for me, so come on, we're neighbors here. Welcome, welcome. I want to start with Coach. We will go with there. We'll have you introduce yourself, and then we'll go to the young ladies.
Hamre, the head coach, St. Michael-Albertville. Been doing this for head coach here for 18 years.
And assistant.
Coach Lahr.
I'm Coach Lahr, assistant coach. Also been doing this for 18 years with Coach Hamre. Coach Cleve.
I'm Coach Cleve. This is my 14th year as assistant with Hamre and Lahr. Kayla.
I'm Jahnke. I'm a junior and I'm a shooting guard. Abby.
I'm Abby. I'm a sophomore and I'm a wing or small forward. Ava.
I'm Ava. I'm a junior and I'm a shooting guard. Gabby.
Volume's not working. We will bounce back to you, Gabby. We'll bounce over to Piper real quick.
My name is Piper. I'm a senior and I'm a forward. I'll go to Maggie.
I'm Maggie. I'm a senior and I'm a shooting guard. And then I'll go to Mackenzie.
I'm Mackenzie. I'm a senior and I'm a point guard. I'll go to Tessa.
I'm Tessa. I'm a senior and I'm a combo guard. I don't know who's left.
We will try Gabby again. How's it, Gabby? Everything working good? Coach, well, we'll work on the volume. How about you introduce Gabby and we'll have what's her age and grade and position.
All right, Gabby is a senior guard for us. Senior guard, Gabby Voigt.
And Cail just came in. Cail, you get the, there we go. We got camera. We're working. Cail, we'll have you introduce yourself, position, and grade.
Okay, my name is Cail Jahnke. I'm a guard and I'm a freshman.
Coming in right under the buzzer. I like it. I like it. So, Coach, we'll start with you. We'll go all the way back to the beginning of the season. Coming off state runner-up, what was the mentality like kind of those first few weeks of practice, end of the season, expectations? Kind of was it championship or bust? Are we starting over from day one? Kind of where are we, what was the mentality and goals kind of going into the first few weeks?
I would say it probably started with our preseason meeting, and each year we kind of have a theme of, a word, like together or whatever it might be. And I came up with one that I thought was really good, like fall forward. And I went through the whole meeting of let's go with fall forward as our theme this year. And after the meeting, the girls said, no, we want unfinished. And so I think their mindset might have been better than mine was going into it, because their mindset was we still have some unfinished business to do and we want to take care of it. And myself, I'm thinking, well, that's putting added pressure on you guys to boast us that we're unfinished. And I guess they were right and I was wrong on that. And that's probably where the expectations started. And I would say right away when the season got going, of everything from, with a lot of high expectations, and we hit some adversity right away by losing Lahr and Hoselton to an ACL, which was a huge blow to us. And I just appreciated the way the rest of the girls picked it up and the way Lahr was still a big part of our team. And so the expectations, I think I tip my hat to the girls more than myself, as they were the ones that were, hey, we are going to do this. And I don't care what any other team has out there, that we're going with unfinished, and you can take your fall forward and use it for something else. So I'll just think of something else to use fall forward. So they had probably the mindset of, we're going to do it.
I like that. Piper, we're going to come to you. Why was unfinished business so important to you and the team?
I think last year we took our, obviously the championship game as a really big loss, and it all kind of touched us in the wrong way. And we didn't beat Hopkins last season, and we knew this season we had to get back at them. So I think that's where we really came back, and it's like we are unfinished, and we're gonna come out with the big win for our senior year next year. Well, for our seniors, I guess.
I like it. Cail, as one of the younger ones coming up, how did the leaders like Piper and Tessa and Jahnke and the ones who kind of been through the, kind of a little bit more experience and kind of leaders, how did they like set the tone from the beginning of the season?
I think every practice we all had the same goal, and I think that our seniors really led us and held us accountable, but they also they just really led in a way that was like supportive, but like we all had the same goal and we all wanted to be pushed. And they all like worked really hard, which set a good example. So
Jahnke, we'll go to you. Was there a game in the season, or was there right away from the beginning of the season that you kind of things switched from we know we're going to be a good team to we know we're a championship level team? Was it right at the beginning, or was there a game where you're like, okay, we might be causing some trouble from people?
I would probably say it was when we came back from our EP game. Like, I forgot how much we were down, but that was probably like our turning point where we knew like, okay, we got this.
Tessa, what was your mentality kind of in some of these games, against the Chaskas and the Hopkins twice and the EP? What did you get the feel from the team, when they were going through the season?
The feel of the team, like everyone was saying, like Cail was saying, we had one goal. Like we all were on the same page the whole season. And we were talking about Hamre wanted to fall forward. We wanted unfinished. We all knew what we wanted, and we just used that as a team. Like we had each other's backs. We were in it together, no matter how up and down the season was. We all knew what we wanted.
Abby, coach mentioned a little bit of adversity coming with, you kind of personally went through kind of some of those moments, kind of, being your sister and then being on the team. How did the team rally around those moments, and how did they use the adversity to kind of make them stronger and build forward?
I think this whole season we've kind of all been a really close-knit group, so it was easy to lean on each other in those moments where we knew we needed it. So I think like our connection all together is really just what helped us through those tough times, knowing we could lean on each other.
Ava, we'll start with you. What's one of your favorite games from this season? In regular season, we'll get to the postseason. Regular season, what was one of your favorite games?
I think I would have to go from when we came back from Eden Prairie, because I think we were down by like 15 or 20 points with like 5 minutes left, and we just threw a random defense on and we ended up coming back and winning it. So it was a really exciting game.
I'll get the assistant coach's perspective. They're talking about the EP game from the bench. On your perspective, what did you see in that game that in the comeback changed, and kind of what they grew from that confidence from being able to come back in that game? I'll let either one take it.
Yeah, in that EP game, I think it was a point where Hamre looked at us and he's like, what do we want to do? So we threw a few examples at him, and that 3-2 came in. Well, Lahr? And after a timeout, we went with that extended 3-2 defense and kind of took it to him there.
Mine is glitchy.
We hear you. Can you hear us? We'll come back. Okay, so we're getting closer to the postseason. Piper, did you feel an increase from the team in regards to the postseason, in energy pickup and intensity pickup, anything from the team and coaches?
Sorry, I have to keep pressing that mute, but I have to find it every time. Yeah, I think summer camp, especially, we pushed each other really hard in summer camp. I remember going out every day of summer camp, sweating because our scrimmagers, we would just go so hard against each other. So I think that's really when it started. We were just all pushing each other to get better during that season.
I like it. Jahnke, so we get towards the postseason. what was the one thing that you guys felt you needed to hone in on to kind of correct or fix or work on to make sure that it didn't catch you as kind of a bugaboo going into the postseason?
Probably our defense. That was probably like a big thing that we were like, let's focus on that. Yeah.
I like it. I'm going to add some of the players, some of the bench mob. You kind of come in and give them the break. Maggie and Ava and Cail. What do you like? What's your mentality kind of coming in off the bench, being that energy boost, kind of that people, you give the starter kind of a little bit of a break, but you don't want to have that drop off. We'll start with Maggie. Uh-oh. Did we lose you, Maggie?
Maggie there?
Can you repeat the question a little quick?
We'll see what we can get there.
My Chromebook is just really. Can you repeat the question?
Yep. The question was, kind of coming in off the bench, kind of being the players that give the starters a break and a rest. Kind of how does your mentality change for that? And how, when you come in, what's your goal to kind of keep that momentum going?
I could out there and try to play as hard as possible. Really focusing on deep and just you're not always like minutes. Try to get as possible and keep the game going.
I like it. Abby, we'll come to you. Was there a game in sections where you guys kind of got a little bit of a punch a little bit, kind of, knocked back on your feet a little bit? Or was sections kind of, we have a business trip here. We really have no pushback.
I think in sections is when we really started to not saying we didn't take our regular season seriously, but we really realized this is our time. This is what we've been working towards. So we kind of just started putting it all out there, and we played every game like it could be our last. So we just played hard every game. And then by the end of it, I think it showed how hard we played, being able to make it back to the state tournament.
And then Tessa, you guys have made it back to state. We start to see the bracket then at state. Was it hard not to look forward to a possible rematch, seeing what the brackets were like? Or was it kind of, hey, we have two conference opponents that we have to maybe see for a third time, especially one EP, you have the rematch with Hopkins? Or was it kind of one game at a time, we'll let the small things take care of themselves?
Well, I would say at first we were looking forward to that state championship game, but then our coaches kept saying one game at a time. We need to get past this first game because there's upsets that happen, we know. So we have to get past that first game, second game, third game. And the seeding, we were probably going to be playing EP semifinals, and we ended up playing them, and it's hard to beat a team 3 times. So yeah, I think it was just the main thing was we have to take it one game at a time and get better each game for that state game.
Coach, I want to ask you, seeing 2 opponents that you've already seen 2 times, now kind of, you get both sides of it, because if it's hard to beat a team 3 times, you ran into one that you had lost to twice in championship, but you had run into one that you had beaten twice in the semifinals. How did you kind of do you think having conference opponents that you're familiar with helps, hurts, indifferent, just kind of focus on that opponent on that day?
Yeah, it kind of got us a little bit of touche, because when we had lost to Hopkins the second time, we had told the girls, we said, well, if we want to play them a third time, we have to get to the state tournament and see them in the state championship. We're kind of use that as a little bit of a motivation, so we could have another shot at them. Not thinking, and we're also telling the girls it's hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year, not looking that we would be playing Eden Prairie in the semifinal game. And did that make it easier? You know what, we had plenty of film on them, and we kind of, as much film as our coaching staff watched, and including the girls, and I know EP and Hopkins did the exact same, but it was maybe a little bit easier of a scout than Egan, we knew nothing about. It was hard to get film on them. And we're Eden Prairie, we'd already scouted them plenty throughout the year, and the same with Hopkins, but vice versa, they had the same on us as well. So, and when you're playing back to back, you play Egan on one night, and then you've got 24 hours to prepare to play Eden Prairie. If it had been somebody else I think that it was Centennial or whoever Centennial, we didn't know a lot about them either. So it'd probably been a lot more homework to do. So it was maybe a little bit, not easier, that's probably the wrong word, but we felt more comfortable because we knew a lot about Eden Prairie and Hopkins and likewise.
Cail, once again, being one of the younger players on the team, you make it to state. What are those emotions playing on like Williams Arena floor? Is it kind of bright lights, like let's go? Is it a little bit of nerves? Is it kind of what are the things you're going through in that moment?
It's definitely different, and to come in and like this is like the state tournament, like this is like where it really just all happens. There's definitely a little bit of nerves, but like Abby was saying, we're a very close team. So I know that like my teammates had my back and I had theirs. So then that kind of, and there was a lot of excitement too. So I feel like that kind of, I think that helped with the nerves a little bit.
So we get the state championship game. We have the third time, the rematch, what everyone has wanted. You knew the gym was going to be packed and everything. And then Jaquela Kraft decided to take over in the first half. Jaquela, what was your mentality coming in that first half? I think I hit some step back threes, some blocks, some kind of describe your mentality in that first half against Hopkins.
Kind of just like going off of what my teammates are already saying, like we're a really tight team. And so I know regardless if I'm hitting or not, my team's got my back and, they want me to keep shooting. And I don't know, I wanted to win. So you just have that thing where it's like, you got to do whatever you can to win.
Abby, I'll ask the question. I don't know if maybe you guys will admit it or not. The way the game started with such a commanding control of it, at least from the beginning, was that a little bit almost shocking to you? Or you that kind of like, this is what we wanted, this is what we knew, this is what we envisioned the game would go like?
We definitely knew there was going to be like a lot of pressure around the game. Like we knew there was going to be a lot of people there, and we knew we just had to kind of cancel out the noise and play our game. So we knew what kind of to expect, but even getting there and playing, like everything was just so surreal.
Piper and Tessa, I'll have each one of you answer. As being seniors, having been through a lot of games, a lot of, this, win or lose, this was your last high school game. What are the emotions kind of surrounding that, like trying to stay focused on winning the championship, stay focused on, playing Hopkins, but at the same time understanding that, let's go out there and win it for our last one. We'll start with Piper.
Yeah, I kind of had the mentality, it just really stuck with me, like I could either lose my last game for my high school career or win my last high school game. And so that kind of was just like, okay, like I gotta win it or else I'm gonna live with this for the rest of my life. So my head was only in the championship game. I was just ready for it all, so. Yeah.
Tessa?
Going off of what Piper was saying, it was the last high school game I'll ever play. And it was the fact that it was also against Hopkins because we lost to them the season before that. And then I've never beat Hopkins my high school career. So there was like a lot of emotions going into it. But at the end of the day, I knew that I wanted to end my high school career off like on a good note, no matter if it was. And the emotions, obviously it was sad. Like we were crying at the end of the game. The whole team was crying after the game because we knew that it was the last time all of us got to play together. But what Piper said, we were focused on that championship game.
Mackenzie, will come to you. What was your mentality kind of throughout the state tournament, the run, kind of going through the games and whatnot? What was your mentality going through these?
I was really excited because I was looking forward to it since last year because we lost. And even my 9th grade year, we lost to Farmington and then it got canceled because of COVID. So I really just wanted to end like my high school career winning.
I know they give COVID years to college players. They're not giving them to high school players. I don't know what's up with that. Come on now. Coach, right? Like we want a COVID year with like Piper and them.
You know what? I'm all for it. Let's see what the high school league can do about it. I'd love to have all these kids back.
I like it. So Ava, will come to you. Jump out on a big lead. Is the mentality kind of still like it's 0-0 or even we're down, like we play like we're down, we play like it's 0-0, keep pushing throughout the first half?
I definitely feel like I didn't even notice that we were up that much. I honestly felt like just like the intensity of the game, I was like, it's still a close game. And then I think a timeout got called and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're up by 15. And I was just like, okay, like we can't stop. Like we have to keep going. We can't get satisfied with what the score is.
Abby, so you get to halftime and you have a 17-point lead. What are those talks in halftime like? Is it like, what's going on? Or is it kind of like, once again, tied 0-0, we keep going, we keep pushing, because we kind of know there's that mentality that Hopkins, they're not going to roll over, they ain't going to go away, they know what's coming out.
Right. Going into the locker room, we're all saying like, yes, that was a great first half we played. We need to continue and bring that into the second half. But we did bring up the fact we knew Hopkins is often a second half team. Like that first time we played them at home, we were up at halftime, they came back, ended up beating us in the end. So we knew we had to keep that same energy and keep them down when we could, and just had to carry out that energy till the end.
Tessa, I was going to ask about that. Having played twice, they were close games both times. You guys are pretty much with them for a little bit till kind of the second half where they kind of would take control. Not that you would ever want to lose, but do you feel that from those first two regular season games that you guys kind of learned from the traps or maybe the mistakes that would happen in the second half that you could avoid, that they were more easily recognizable in the second half of the championship game, not to kind of have those come up?
Yes, definitely. Abby said it best. They are a second half team, but we knew that. Like we knew they were gonna change their defense or something, like more pressure. We knew they were gonna go for it because again, it's not just our last high school game; it's their last high school game for that season too. And so we had to adjust with them. So we kind of had an idea of what they were doing. So we had to go off of their idea of what they were doing, and yeah, we just had to keep going.
Cail, I will ask. The second half starts. Describe the intensity increase from the Hopkins, from the game. It's the second half. There's no more halftime. There's no more breaks in between. What was that intensity increase like from their side?
Definitely like Tessa and everyone was really saying, like, we know Hopkins is a second half team, and it's like, we gotta we just have to continue pushing. And the way they came out, they wanted it too. Like we know we want it, but they want it too. And like knowing a lot of those girls like on a deeper level, it was kind of like, I kind of felt like their intensity and like the change of the game just kind of shift. But we kept our composure. We did what we had to do.
Cail, I'll ask from you. So the starters kind of go out there and they kind of get the feel, like they get the physical aspect of, being out there. Could you sense a different intensity even from, on the bench, kind of those first few minutes from Hopkins, noticing that this ain't going to be a first half, they kind of have changed a little bit?
I would say in that, I feel like our starters came out and they were playing like the best they've ever played together, and everything was just kind of clicking and they were just working hard and they were pushing. It did definitely feel a little bit more intense, but I think that they did a really good job of keeping their composure and just like setting the tone for the game. So coming into that, you just want to keep that going.
Piper, I gotta ask your question. You're one in the middle. That's a physical battle in the middle. How would you describe the battle in there? How would you describe the physicality and whatnot in regards to playing against Hopkins?
I think Hopkins, as well as us, we're both very physical teams, and obviously down low, you're kind of shoving back and forth the whole time, posting up. Defense wise, you kind of just gotta wall up and take it sometimes, but it's like a fun. I've learned to love it down low because it's just, you kind of get to, play rough a little, but it was fun. It was fun.
Man, that's a young mentality, because if I'm at Lifetime getting pushed like that, I want to foul immediately.
I've learned that I don't like fouling immediately because then I have to sit on the bench for foul trouble. So it's like, okay, hands straight up, do what I can without fouling.
I like it. Coach, I'll ask your mentality. How did you feel the intensity change, as the coach, kind of going to that second half? How did you see the intensity change in the game going into that second half?
Well, we never got comfortable. I will say that even as we went down the tunnel and we sat outside the locker room, And us coaches were talking, and we knew the game was far from over. And just because of, we've had the experience of them coming back on us before when we've had leads, and just knowing how good they are. And we knew that they would make their defense adjustments, but we felt that we had prepared for it, and that even that just that one day and that walk through the different things that they had thrown at us in the past. And we felt we're hopefully ready for that. And just the mentality I felt, even when I walked in the locker room, it was different than the other times we played Hopkins. It wasn't the look of they were satisfied. In years past, when we'd be even down by 5 against Hopkins, you'd walk in that locker room and the girls were like, hey, yeah, this is all right. And here you could still see that, hey, back to what they said, unfinished. We're unfinished here. And that's the mentality of our locker room. It wasn't any celebrating. It wasn't anybody saying this thing, hey, we're sitting in good hands. They knew that Hopkins was going to come back. They knew Hopkins, the pressure was going to come, and that's just who they are. And I would say, looking back at it now, the walk in the locker room and looking at the girls in the locker room, it was a way different mentality of this. They just the look they had in their faces. This is far from over.
And then we'll have Ava describe that, from the player's perspective. Why was it so important to make sure the mentality was far from over? Don't be satisfied. Don't be comfortable. Not even comfortable like playing the same amount of level that we played in the first half. We have to keep going up with it like they do. Why was that so important from the player's perspective?
I think because after the first 2 times we played them, we knew their intensity. We knew that, and when we first played them, they came out trapping Tessa, and I just think that we weren't really ready for that. So coming out, knowing that we had a good first half, but we knew that, hey, they're going to try everything they can because they need to come back, and they need to try and have a chance at coming back and winning. But I think we were just more prepared and knowing hey, we cannot let them get on a run. And I think we responded really great in the second half.
Tessa, we get into the final 8 minutes, still holding about, I think, a 12 to 13 point lead. And then one of those traditional Hopkins runs came where they kind of get rolling, they force turnovers, they get out and run. What was how was your kind of personal, for you yourself and for the team kind of just let's stay calm. They're going to make their runs. And how do you kind of come back out and always kind of had your own pushbacks at them?
I think that one thing, just thinking of the game, if one person is not composed or panics a little, then that affects the whole team. So if you're negative a little bit, that will affect the whole team. So I think that the leadership part that the team has in general, just stay calm, and then your team will stay calm. We know, and time was on our side also. So we know that we don't need to do a lot. And basketball is a game of runs. So as long as we shorten the runs and stick to defense like Coach Lahr preaches, then we'll be fine. And I know they got really close, but we just had to make it a little interesting.
So speaking of getting a little interesting, we get in those final minute. Coach, I wasn't even coaching or playing in it, and I know I was sweating in the stand, and I had no skin in the game. So I can about imagine what you were like. Describe for us what that final minute was like for you. Was it kind of just a blur, let's just get 0.00 on the clock, or kind of what was that like?
Yeah, it got to the point even before that where, we had a decent lead, and I quit looking at the clock because it wasn't going down. And then and just that last minute, and I knew we still had 2 timeouts left. And it was, if we're ever in trouble here, let's burn a timeout. And you just wanted to, get the ball in the hands of your free throw shooters. And at the end, they ended up falling Tessa, which, she makes both free throws, and Kelly still comes down and hits a long 3 to put them back within 1. But I just felt that the girls, the mindset in that last minute, that there was a lot of trust in each other out there. And even in the huddles, and any one of these girls were saying, hey, we got this, girls. And just the confidence they had. And it wasn't just one of them. It was everybody in that huddle. We got this. We got each other's back. And like I said, that last minute, that it did seem like forever. And it was a huge relief, because I always been kind of told of, St. Michael's good, but they just can't win the big one out there. They've won it at 3A, but they've never did it at 4A. And the last minute might have been the longest minute that I've ever had. I mean, that last minute took, it was longer than this week-long spring break, I think.
Jaquela, as a player, how long did that minute feel like for you, or did that go by in a blur?
No, that minute was so long. Oh my gosh, it was so long. I was like, I don't know. And then it just felt like they kept adding time too. And yeah.
I can vouch they did. Every time they went to the clock, it was like 0.5 more, 0.3. I'm like, man, we're gonna be here till 11:30. But anywho, and then I have to ask Abby, you know, you've been a teammate with her for a little while. She's the senior leader. Tessa's at the free throw line when you're up 2 and you need 2 free throws. Was there any doubt those 2 were going in, or were you like, she got this?
No, you knew, put the ball in Tessa's hand, she's gonna make it happen. There was like, you can't doubt anyone ever. Like, I knew she could do it.
Tessa, you're at the free throw line, up 2, need the 2 free throws. Any nerves, or you're just back at practice at the St. Michael-Albertville gym?
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I have practiced those free throws before. I put myself in little scenarios and I'm like, okay, these are championship game. I had it as we were tied or down, but so I think it just goes back to the habits that I make in the gym and muscle memory and the fact that like I knew my teammates trusted me. So yeah.
Piper, the final buzzer finally goes off after the long minute, and now you're getting sunlight going on in your house there. The final minute finally goes. It's official. What's those first few moments feel like?
Oh my gosh, I can't even really describe the feeling. I was very emotional, I think, at first, because it's just like you're so happy, and then you don't know who to like run to and hug, and then we were all piled up. But it was like very fast moving after the game, I feel like. But I don't know, I was very like, especially when we were getting our medals, I was kind of more emotional, like, oh my gosh, like that was just my last game. And then it's like we just won, and it was happy tears. So it was just a lot of different emotions, but it was really fun. So
Ava, what did you know, in terms of you guys being the first St. Michael-Albertville team to get the 4A championship, what's the legacy that you hope this group leaves for the people, you know, the ones, you know, they're still around and going forward?
Yeah, I hope it honestly like inspires the younger generation. Like, we are in the highest class that you can be in, and like you can do it. You can get through those hard times, you can push through those hard games. And like in the end, it's all worth it. All your work that you put into the gym, all those hours that nobody sees, it is worth it, and that you can do it.
Jaquela, how many takes did it take to get the right TikTok after you won? Or was that a one take thing? We champs with one take.
Oh no, I did one with Tessa and I did one with Piper, and it only took one time. It was one time. We were good.
I was thinking coaches were going to get in with the championship one. Come on now, the TikTok with the coaches. I mean, the championship's going on here.
Well, maybe at the banquet. I'll send you guys the little TikTok.
There we go. There we go. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. So I'll have each one of the coaches. We'll start with head coach and then go to the assistants. What do you feel the legacy this group has left for St. Michael-Albertville girls basketball?
I'll start. I just think that it's definitely raised the bar, not only on the court but off the court. These girls are role models. They're looked up to. The kids I know I can count on, and have always been able to, you know, whether it's helping with fall league stuff, because we do a lot of stuff like that outside of basketball, but just how they are around our younger kids too, and the inspiration they are to our younger kids. And I've really experienced that the last few weeks. Is I have yet to walk into the grocery store, the hardware store, anywhere, and somebody not say, hey, congratulations, what a great bunch of girls you have there. And you know what, they're exactly right. It's fun hearing these girls say again how tight they were. And what they also did is they took drama and they handled it themselves. You know, you're going to have adversity, you're going to have drama, and they handled it. It wasn't, we have to have another team meeting. We have to have another team meeting. We have to have a team meeting because we got this going on. Didn't happen this year, and that's because of our leadership. That's because of these girls. And like I said, they've all repeated. We got along. We had each other's back, and the legacy they've left. I mean, they've inspired a lot of young kids, and they've inspired me to work harder too, because that was way too much fun not to wait 12 or 14 years, whatever the last one was. Coach Cleve.
Yeah, I think just how big of role models these girls were. So many kids looked up to them. The day back from the state tournament, came to school, and I had one of my 5th grade students hand me 2 envelopes with drawings. And actually, those were for Jaquela and Tessa. And I actually have 2 more So they're still coming in. So I have drawings for Piper and Abby yet. So they're just, touching so many young lives, which is really cool and fun. So I think that's a huge legacy to leave behind.
Coach Lahr, I think are we back? Are we good or? Uh-oh, are we frozen again?
Coach Lahr, do you work? I don't know if she's working.
Maybe. We'll see. Oh,
It's glitching in and out. Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, perfect. I just reiterate what Hamre and Cleve said. They're a great group.
Uh-oh. So then we'll ask that. Well, I'm big person on word associations, and this one's going to be fun because I know this group is pretty fun. So we'll start with Jaquela. What's the one word to describe the 2022-2023 St. Michael-Albertville girls basketball team?
Finished.
Finished. There we go. Maggie?
I would say intense, but in a fun way.
Mackenzie?
I would say like finished, I guess, too.
Fair. Ava?
I would have to go with trust.
Tessa?
Say it. You. Champions.
There we go. Cail? Uh-oh, did we lose you, Cail?
No, I got it.
Wait.
I'm gonna have to say unforgettable.
Like that one. Piper?
Maybe supportive.
Abby?
I'd say together.
Like it. Gabby, we're gonna try the volume again. Bring it on home with the word. We'll get you, I promise. Coach, what's your one word for this year's team?
Proud. Proud
it.
of these girls.
Tessa stole my joke. Like the down American she is. I always say the one word. I'm like, champions. You finished it. You're champions. I wanted to let all of you know, congratulations. You were an absolute joy and pleasure to watch this year. I never was bored at any of your games. I was in them with you. I wasn't on the court and I was sweating in the stands. So just letting you know, so I was right there with you. And I've seen the work you guys put in. Turned heartbreak from last year into championship this year. I've seen Jaquela at the gym. I ain't gonna play against her because she would whoop me all day long. So she would have me. I've seen Tessa there at Lifetime. So I've seen all of the work you guys put in. Congratulations. Thank you so much for doing this. And to the ones that are coming back, I'll be in the gym there still. To the ones off to South Carolina and Idaho State and wherever they're going for their colleges, I will be watching from there.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot for all you do
Thank
for girls
you.
basketball. Very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank
You all have
you.
a fantastic night and have a good Monday tomorrow. Bye.